we've got a, we've already got one, but we can go through it. So it's saying create, I think that is a binding. Oh no, interestingly. That's an interesting one. They've got it highlighted as an Android app, but I'm sure they want a bindings project, but okay. But there we go. So it talks about the jar folder. So that's where you can add the AAR folder. So we have to right click it, add existing. We can do that. So what I normally do when I'm streaming is I hit record at the same time I hit start stream, so that I've got the whole thing available to upload to YouTube. I only just remembered to click start recording because I didn't want the recording to capture just 5 minutes of me playing a song I like that's not copyrighted. So if I can't get to the beginning of the recording off Twitch after this, then for those watching on YouTube, I apologise, you missed the beginning. We are just trying to create a binding for Xamarin so that we can use Twilio's voice SDKs. I'll make sure to put a good description in the GitHub repo so that you know what's going on. But let's go to this jars. Let's just zoom in on the solution. Explorer, there we go. So we can go to add exist. Oh no, hang on, we don't want to do that. We want to add an existing file, not folder. So it's add existing files from folder. There we go. So it's in my downloads. It's called What's it called? It's there. Okay, it doesn't let me do that. That's fine. We can just copy and paste it in instead. So we can get Finder back up. I need to close Adobe XD, it will use up resources. And I don't need my stream timer anymore. There we go. So we're in here. So we've got our voice bindings project. Then we've got jars. So all we need to do is paste item. There we go. So the AR is in there now. The only thing we need to do is, oh, I don't know how you do it on Mac. How do you do show all files? New? If anyone knows a shortcut to this or knows how to do it, let me know. What I'm trying to do is, you know, on Visual Studio for Windows, you can do, you can hit that little button, can't you, that says show all files, so that when you add a file like that, you can then right click it and add to the project. That's what I'm trying to do here. This might be one of those resort to our good friend the internet. Okay, well, that's what the internet's for. Okay, Visual Studio for Mac, show all files. Let's hope it doesn't tell me it's not possible. That'd be annoying. Okay, it's 2013, so we'll see what happens. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's going to be Visual Studio, isn't it? Let's see. My eyes are tired today. Been a long day at work. It's quite an interesting day at work, actually. I was doing front end. Normally I do back end, but you know, we're a team at work, so if there's something that needs doing, we just pick it up. Some stuff will be stuck to the UI, you know, will be specific to the UI team, but sort of small UI defects we can pick up. So our website uses. Hey, guys, Mott's is here. Hey, buddy. Wasn't expecting you to show up. Let's have a look. What's it about? Ah, okay. Ah, okay, thanks, James. There you go, guys. It's not every day that James turns up to your stream. That's what friends are for. Oh, it's Pickles. Is it Pickles? What's the dog called? No, it's not Pickles. That's a different dog. I don't know. Anyway, so the emoji James has used, I think, is custom to his friend's dog. Does Display options. Oh, there we go. So if you right click on the solutions, display options, show all files. Cool. Thanks, James. God, the pressure's on now, guys. I mean, all right, not really. James has been my friend for years, but I get professional in the house if I can't do it. Mr. Android. Okay, there we go. So we can see all the files. If we just right click on it and include in project. Woo, cool. Now we'll hide all the other files because we don't need them. Display options, show all files. There we go. Sweet. Thanks, James. So, cool, we've got the file. What's next? Okay, so don't need that anymore. I'll leave this tab here as a reminder that I'll just bug them until they fix it. James can vouch for the fact that if I think there's something wrong with docs, I just bug people until it's fixed. Good docs is important. So let's go back to our project. So we've added our existing item. It's been added. Okay, so now we need to set the build action. So by default, I think it does nothing with it, which is kind of bad because you want to say, hey, do this with it. So build action. Oh, okay. I've done this on Windows before, and it's just set the build action by default to none, but that's good. So yeah, basically, when you're doing a bindings project, you want it to be library project zip, because all jars and AAR files really is just glorified zip files. How do I... don't want to... What's with... Can't remember how you do it. Okay. I was going to make you mod, James, but I can't remember how, so here we are. So we've got that set to zip, library project zip, so that's good. Cool, so it's just telling you how to do it between Mac and Windows, that's helpful. Okay, so we need to configure the target framework, okay. Oof, now there's a good question. Okay. Oh, okay, so it's basically saying that in some circumstances your library might need to be set to a specific version of Android. We can select the latest, so saying project. Okay, so it's project properties. Cool. So options. Okay, so you want to go to application. Oh, compile. Oh, it's just standard compile using. Yeah, that's fine. I thought it was going to be something like fancy. Android build? No. You can tell how often I do this. Is it main settings? No. See, I never think about this stuff, which is really bad. I just leave it as it is and carry on. Oh, there we go. It's up there. That's why. See, all you people that stream Xamarin content, you spend too much time on Windows. Yeah, Pi will do. We don't need to be fancy. Although, actually, we'll go back to 8.0. Unless we hit any problems, there's a reason to do not a further forward. The more recent... Oh, it's target framework, isn't it? Not minimum required. Yeah, no, we can just use the latest. Ooh. Also, James, is Q reliable to use, or is it? Oh, am I better off targeting Pi? I don't know. You're my favourite Xamarin fan person. Not Xamarin, Android fan person. Right, we'll target Pi for now, and if anyone comes back and says that we should target something else, we'll do that. Cool. So we've done that. Yeah, just Pi. Okay, yep. Pi it is. Oh, now we need to build it. Okay. So this is where it gets complicated because this AAR that they've given you for this walkthrough will definitely not produce any errors because the whole point is it's supposed to go well. But we will give it a go. So now all we have to do is build. So what that will do is it will know it's a binding project and it will know that the AAR is there. If it's not there, it does tell you, I think. So it will just try and create the bindings for it. So we just have to sit and wait. Normally what happens is that you then get a load of errors in response, and then we can start working through the errors, hopefully. When I started this stream, I was a bit worried because, as I said at the beginning, I've not done this in many years, and I lack confidence sometimes as a developer at the best of times without trying to do something difficult on stream. But I feel more relaxed because James is here, and we'll be fine. While James is here, James knows the answers, and if not, I'm sure one of you will. So between us all, we can rock it. We've got this. Oh, 10 errors. Well, this is going well. And 149 warnings. Okay. So when I was doing the bindings a few years ago with Chris Van Wyck, as I mentioned, he actually knew how to solve all the warnings, but you don't actually have to. So for now, I'll leave it. But let's have a look at these errors. Okay. So let's just zoom in to the output window. You know what? We can make it a bit bigger, I think. Fonts. Output pad contents, that's the one. Let's just make it 14. Might be a bit excessive, but I want you to be able to see it. View. Nope, that didn't do anything. Oh, it's not output, is it? It's errors. So let's just go back to preferences. General. We'll just make them all a bit bigger. Nothing wrong with that. Make sure everyone can see. There we go, that's better. Okay, so let's just have a look at the errors and see if any of them stand out as something worthwhile to start with, because we won't necessarily start at the top and work down. We'll, low-hanging fruit, I think is the phrase in English. Quick wins, whatever you want to call it. So, type error event args already defines a member called CTOR with the same parameter types. Okay. That's interesting. Is it going to take us to the file to take a look? Okay. So, what's it trying to tell us? Oh, output's gone now. That's annoying. So, if anyone's done Android bindings before, by the way, and has seen any of these errors, feel free to shout out in chat, because we might as well learn together and share knowledge rather than me hopelessly hoping for the best. But it might take me a while, and some of you might get annoyed watching me take forever, but quick wins. We'll just hope for the best. I'm going to take a screenshot of those errors because it's annoying me that I can't see them. Oh no, there we go, we can do that. So it's saying the event args already defines a member called constructor. Okay. I did submit to the call for papers for Xamarin Expert Day in Cologne, you're right. So I submitted for, well, the main reason I submitted is because I've spoken at the past two and I really wanted to speak again. But then obviously we have a very VIP guest at the event, and it's been a goal of mine for a long time to share a stage with James, so fingers crossed. So right, anyway, let's get the errors back up. Oh, we can pin this, can't we? So there we go. Let's shrink this, we don't need it. Okay, so it already defines a member called .ctor. Okay. Where is it? An error. Registered. Wait, what am I missing? Okay, so let's just have a look through. So, okay. Oh yes, it's an iJava object. Okay. So, where will it be defined is the question. What other files have we got? What's it generated? Anything? Nope. Okay. Okay, that's iJava object. So register. Let's just see where it's referred to. Let's find usages, shall we? That's references on Mac, isn't it? I spend all day on Windows, so then I come on Visual Studio for Mac, and it's a nice experience, but I get the terminology wrong, so I'm sorry. Okay, so it's used in a few places. Let's just shrink that down again. What have we got? Okay, so it's all in the same file, I think. Yeah. So you've got public, okay. Ah, okay. How do you know this stuff? Like, you can only see what's on my screen. I say this with utmost respect, like I wish I knew as much as this stuff, but like this is a reason why I started a stream, because I never know this stuff, so I'd rather just be the public face of people that are experts at the beginning everything and not experts at anything difficult. Okay, so how can we get rid of it is the question, because this is built in. So I know that you do stuff in metadata, but it's not generating the metadata, which isn't helpful. Because it's hit problems, it hasn't finished. Yeah. Yeah, see, everything's duplicated, you're right. Because, you know, there's P1 and P0 and all that stuff. But where else is it referenced is the question. Right, so it's in, is it properties? No. Somewhere you get the generated stuff. Ah, okay. See? It's like one of the busiest people I've ever met, and you still find time to show up and help. Thank you, it's appreciated. Okay, so error. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I showed everything, because it's normally. So let's just find it. I don't know if it'll find things in hidden folders, but we'll see. Yeah, I did find anything. Okay. I feel such an amateur at this stuff, but I never have to do it. I'm an ASP.NET developer by day. I never get to do Xamarin or do anything difficult. Generated. There we go. Just find references. There we go. Okay. So it's not, doesn't look obviously duplicated because there's not double references to it. Is that C++? It looks like it. Okay, so we've got on error down here. Is there an on error at the top? Well, we can always do that. Ah, okay, I never knew that. Yeah, so for those that can't see the chat, apparently generated code isn't searchable. Didn't know that. James, if you get fed up of watching me fail miserably at any point, we can jump on Skype. Ah, can you search in directories? I did not know that. Fine. Look in directories, there we go. So. Ah, yeah, so. I've got it there. So that's a constructor, so. Oh, is it because it's up here? Oh no, that's an interface, so that shouldn't matter. So, got the overrides. Ah, yeah, we've got, oh no, that's the class. Does that implement the interface? That's the question. Oh no, that's in unregistration. So you've got the class and then the... Ah, okay. Yeah, so this, oh, they're called the same thing, that's why. What should we call it? We call it unregister, event args, and then here it can be register event args. So let's see if that will solve it. Any other duplications? Nope. Okay. So obviously we'll still have errors, but hopefully we'll have at least got rid of that one. Or it's normally the case with bindings. Oh, we're down from 10 to 7. Yeah. Ah, okay. So James is just saying that in the XML transform you want to change it. Okay, so we want to grab the metadata path first. Well, that's useful. At least we've moved on to different types of errors, but yeah, okay. Has it though? That's the question. Has it? Oh, it's still called. I've just built again, and it's always compiling and building the same thing, aren't they? That is like a stupid question of the day, but it's a genuine question. Because, okay. There we go. We've got a useful link here. Okay, so C# code in Android calls Java libraries. Yep, okay, so okay, so this is its example. So for Android, yeah, it's just got properties and stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, good old making it more .NET like. Yeah, rename a class. That's what we want to do. Right there. And obviously, of course, we want to make it more .NET like, but that's the next step. We'll get it working first before we worry about that. Okay, so you've got metadata that allows changes to be made to the final API, such as changing namespaces. Yep. And then you can do enums where you change the mapping between Java constants and C# enums. And then you can change method parameters and return types. Okay, so it sounds like we want metadata, which is what I thought from stuff I'd learned previously. But let's have a look. Yeah, metadata is the most important. Okay, so let's talk about it. That's what they say. Let's discuss it. So let's do it. So, as we've already learned, the file metadata.xml is used by the bindings generator to influence the creation of the binding assembly. The metadata format uses XPath syntax and is nearly identical to the GAPI metadata described in GAPI metadata guide. This implementation is almost a complete implementation of XPath 1.0 and thus supports items in the 1.0 standard. That's fine. So you might have seen before, I mentioned metadata paths. That's because they give you reference paths that you can use so that you can talk about it. But we'll get to that. Okay, so all the rule elements. Alright, so this file is a powerful XPath-based mechanism to change, add, hide, or move any element or attribute in the API file. All the rule elements in the metadata spec include a path attribute to identify the node to which the rule is to be applied. Another... Oh, John Douglas. Sweet. Yeah, you know, when I tweeted the other day, James, about wanting to create these bindings, John Douglas actually replied saying he'd love to help. So I gave him an open invite to join whenever he wants. So, yeah, definitely, it's great to know that he's out there offering help. Okay, interesting. So I'm just reading through some of this stuff. We've got common pals, yeah, that's cool. Common names. Oh yeah. Aha, okay. Duplicate names. Ah, there we go. Well, thanks for dropping by, James. I appreciate the fact that you even had the time to show up and you offered loads of help. So, much love to you. Ah, okay. So what we need to do is take this line here. So it's saying what you want to do is take the path, the name, and then give it the new managed name. So that's what we want to do. So that was in the, let's see where it's got to go. Let's have a look. Okay, so metadata is where we need to put this stuff, I think. So let's drop into it. Okay. Shrink this back again. Make this smaller because at the moment we care more about this bit. So you get some bits already in the metadata. Cool. So yes, it's giving you examples of how to do it. So we'll just do it below that. So obviously this isn't going to be right, but we can just do that and tab it in. There we go. So we want to change that path in here, and we know that we can get the path from up here. So the path is equal to it's not that one we want, it's class. So somewhere is that on here? There we go. So we want to change this one. It doesn't have a metadata path. That's helpful. So let's have a look. We can probably take that path and then just customize it. We should be able to work it out. So we know that we need to change this bit. So it's going to be that, and then it's going to be class, and then the name is going to be on here. There we go. Error event args. This is going to be interesting, but we'll try it and see. So the name is going to be error event args, and we want to change the name to be didn't spot that, there we go. So the new managed name is going to be register error event args. Cool. So Okay, so one problem that we can try and solve together, if anyone's got any suggestions, is the fact that it's obviously as standard, it's not as easy as we'd like. It's, as you saw, if we scroll down, it's a partial class inside a different file. So how would we, we just have to do that. So if we look here, we've got it as Tom Twilio Voice, so we just need to do that, I think. So that should now be able to differentiate between the two. So if we do, is it Control D, something like that? No, oh, Control D is delete, isn't it? How to do, is it Command D? Oop. There's a shortcut in Mac for duplicating a line. I'm sure there is. Oh well, stop being lazy, we'll just do a copy and paste. Because obviously this is going to be very similar, it will just be for unregistered listener instead. Ooh, horrible formatting. Let's bring that back one. So it's going to be I'll double check it in a minute. So unregistration listener, we're going to call it unregister. So I'll just go ahead and check them. So registration listener, yeah, we'll call it register event args, and then in here it's unregistered. Oh yeah, it's I am register, isn't it? Oh no, we've got a class as well. Let's see what happens. So in theory, what we're saying is take these classes and rename them. So we'll build it and see what happens. This could go horribly wrong. It could be, you know, the usual James leaves and everything falls apart. Ooh. Okay, so we didn't quite get that right because it did the same thing again. Okay, maybe we just need to look up partial classes. So, update later. Android library binding metadata.xml duplicate names partial class. It might be that we have to do the interface, we'll see. This page, good old Stack Overflow. Sometimes Stack Overflow can actually be useless or a red herring, but hopefully, sorry, phrasing again. To those that don't know, red herring is like a term in English for like when you think you found the answer, but it's actually not what you think. It's almost like it's a trap. Obviously not a literal trap, but it just gives you a false positive. Okay, so trying to create a project. Yeah, so there you go, disconnected. So they've got event args as well, that's cool. Okay, so you do reference the interface. And then the method name. Okay, so you don't worry about the class itself, you actually do those method names. So we'll leave those there because they're a good reference, but it turns out that we can do some other things. So, back to our good friend, the file that we wanted. So that was in, oh, there we go, let's go back to that file. Cool. So, we have this, yeah, so don't worry about that. We want to change this. So we want to take this bit again. After all that, I was right the first time. So we want to change that. And then what's it say? So it's saying that you take the interface name and then you do a slash method. Okay, so take the interface name. Is it after the single quote? Yeah, after the quote. Oh, okay, it's after that. Then it's, oh yeah, like you do here. So it's method name, I'm guessing. Oh no, method. Of course it is. And then it will be square brackets at name equals. So let's see what it would be. So I'm just curious if unregistration so we just do a search again for error event args. So what I'm just trying to find out is if they've both got the same at the top they've got the same. Yeah, there you go. So we can do the same. So we can do on error and on unregistered. Cool. So yes, it's doing method name. So we want to do on error and on registered. Okay, we'll do on error first. So the method name equals in single quotes on error. Is that right? Yep. And then it's managed name, and then okay, then we can change its name. So it'd be register on error, and then here it will be unregister on error. So we can just work backwards. So it would be Twilio Voice interface registration listener, and then again we're going to do method at name equals double single quotes. So it's just across. So all we're doing at the moment is just doing the register and unregister for the same methods, and then we'll do the on register for the two methods. So on error, we're going to, there we go. So let's just do it. I'll just double check that the metadata is right. So it's name, voice, interface, name, unregistration listener. Yep. Woo! Cool. So now we need to do the same again for the other stuff. So it's going to be the same as this. I'm just going to copy it because it'll be similar enough that we can just make adjustments. And we can double check it twice to make sure I'm not doing anything silly. So it's unregistered next. So it's the same interfaces, it's just different methods. So it's going to be on registered, unregistered. Cool. So again, it's a magnet, and this time it's going to be registered on. Oh, so it's register on registered. Bit of a funny name, but at least it's clear what we're talking about. On registered. There we go. Just double check that. Top. Yeah. Oh, it's on. Oh, of course it is. It's on unregistered. Oh, that one might not have clashed actually. So it might have just been error actually that clashed, which would explain it because they're both called the same thing. So that's on registered and that's on unregistered. Okay, so I actually didn't need to do those two. Oops. Getting ahead of myself there. That's okay, we can get rid of those. Okay, so if we save that and build, we'll see what happens. Cross your fingers for me, everyone. I take it everyone agrees with that so far. Oh, I'm at tea. The thing with tea compared to coffee is that with tea, I mean, you could technically make a teapot, but yeah, it takes like, you don't have like a cafetiere with a load of excess tea. Oh, we're down to 3 errors. Nice. Woo. Okay, so we're down to 3 errors, people. We're making progress. This is exciting. So, obviously, we're taking it step by step. We'll get these build errors sorted, and then we'll commit. The plan is, obviously, as I was touched on before, the whole idea of .netting, your sort of C-sharping, whatever you want to call it, the methods and stuff, because at the moment they'll still be very Java-y. You know, it'd be like com.something whatever. Whereas obviously we want nice, you know, method names that match what we're used to. So, like, this is, you know, we'll just work on that next. But, you know, the goal for today is just to get this bindings project building without any errors. You know, we could go on for hours after that, and we will make a plan. But once we get this building, I'm going to start creating issues on the GitHub repo. So this is James' style. It's a shame he's not here. But what James does on his, if you've ever watched his streams, is that when he's doing a project, again, like lots of us, he's pro open source, so he develops his stream projects. They're all open source on GitHub. But what he does, and I'll show you when we get to it, to do like tasks that need doing on the app, is he just makes issues, and then people can work on the issue and submit a pull request. Because yes, I'm sat on stream doing this, but this project is absolutely out in the open. If anyone watching wants to get involved, that's what the repo's there for. Completely open, carry on. But we'll get to that. So for now, let's just address these. So again, we've got a similar issue. So, oh god, this is going to get more interesting, because this isn't class names, this is delegates. So if we search in the finding files again, let's find it in directories. So let's see what we find. Yeah, there you go. So it's called multiple times in the same file. Let's have a look. Alright, so it's static if, then you do that, return if. Okay, so it might be that it's just doing the same thing twice. Let's have a look. So if we just look here, so that's if the warning is null, then create the delegate, otherwise return it. Static delegate call. Okay, so it's something anyway that we've got 2 of. Yes, okay. So that's get on warning L Java util hash. So that's 1379. Okay, so let's just do a comparison of these. So it's a delegate on warning handler, on a delegate on warning. Okay, why is that twice? Are they in different classes? So that's a class name, call method send digits. Okay, and what's this one? I don't know. Method mute. Okay. Oh no. Why is it? It's throwing me off now. So Copper Beardy is saying it takes them a good 10 minutes to make coffee using this cafetiere. I can relate to that. So I have an AeroPress. I don't drink coffee very often because I have the attention span of a gnat. So caffeine, strong caffeine like coffee just sends me wired. But if anyone's not seen it, AeroPress it's a vacuum coffee making device. So what happens is you put a filter on the end of a bit with holes in. I'm trying to remember now how you do it. So I'm a visual person, so you just have to bear with me. And so you Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you have a filter paper that water can get through, but coffee grounds can't, that you put on the end. Then you put the coffee and the water into the vacuum bit, and then you've got a pump. So what happens is you push the plunger down. You leave it to like brew for a bit, but you push the plunger down, and it's basically self-cleaning because it's a vacuum. So it pushes it all down, and what happens is the water and the coffee mix get pushed through the paper. So the coffee grounds stay, but the water that's been turned into coffee comes through the paper into your mug. It's not the most faffy way of like complicated way of making coffee, but it does take time, and if you're not careful, because it's a one mug thing, so you place it over the mug, and it's so easy to be a bit heavy-handed and send your mug flying. I'm clumsy, so I avoid it most of the time. But anyway, back to this. Got distracted by coffee then. Proper developer. So we've got... Yes, we've got two of the same. So this is in send digits. Virtual unsafe void. Interesting. Okay, and then the other one... is inside whenever. Is that right? Am I reading that right? So that's a method. This is going to be very controversial, and I will put it back if I'm wrong. But I don't think it's specific to anything, and it's just the same thing twice. Because it's not inside this method. It's still inside. We scroll up. I'm just looking for any signs of a class or something that shows what they're inside of, so that we know that they're in different classes. If we know they're in different classes, then you can't get rid of one because it'll break. We need to rename them. But I'm just wondering whether they're just referred to in the same class twice, which I get the feeling it is. So I think what I'm going to do is just here we go. Jump down to here. Yeah, so I'm just going to take this out because I think we don't need it. Oh, it's going to get generated again, isn't it? So let's have a look at those docs that James sent. So here we go. So this is the gist that he sent from John Douglas. So for those of you that don't know, John Douglas actually works at Microsoft on the Xamarin Android team. Okay, it doesn't say that, but yeah, he's, you know, a bit like James. You can trust him when it comes to Android and stuff, so he's really helpful. So if we can't get past this, I can always reach out to John. As I mentioned to James, when I tweeted about doing this the other day, John did comment that he'd love to help, so at least we've got a contact that hopefully, even if it takes a while for schedules to line up, I can hopefully at least talk to him about it if we need to. Okay, so let's have a look. So we're just trying to find, so it's not missing types, duplicate names, possibly. Yeah, so we might need to just do this. I'm not sure about this one, so I'm just gonna I just did Command/ to comment it out, and so it might get generated again, but I just want to see what happens. Okay, we're down to one error. That's a good start. Okay, and again, this is declared twice. So I think it's going to be, because it's another... I know, that's a method, isn't it? So that's... I must admit, this is one thing I don't like, is that there's so many methods and classes in the same file, so it's really hard to know what belongs to what. So that's going to be the method, so that's going to be the class. So if we follow the dotted line upwards, we should find the class it's in. All the way up, all the way up. Right, we're going a long way here, folks. So what I'm doing, if you're confused, is these lines here line up with methods. So this dotted line helps you line up curly braces. So I'm following the line upwards, because what should happen is that for that method that says is duplicated, we should be able to scroll upwards from this dotted line to find the class it lives within. Because what I'll then do, like I've done with the other duplicate methods, is do a search in the directories to find those references, and then do the same exercise for the other duplicate, so that then if we know they're in the same class, we can stop it generating twice again. But we're going back a long way. If anyone's a Visual Studio for Mac user, by the way, and knows a quicker way of doing this, and it's just finding me watching me do this painful, let me know. As I always say, we be learning. Okay, so it's inside the class cool right at the top. So I think it's fair to say that it's probably going to be the same thing again, but... So I think what James said earlier is right. We do need to do something with this to stop it being generated again. But for now, I just want to see if my theory is right, and then if it gets generated again, I'll then do some research into avoiding duplicates. So let's have a look. So it's in... Oh, that path name's too long. Come on. Alright, don't give me tooltips then. So it's all in configure twice, so I'm wondering whether we can comment that out as well. Okay, so let's try it and see what's going to happen. If this actually, damn, yes. I say I'm a terrible dancer. I'm not too bad if there's good music. I just have no shame. Like, if you follow me on Twitter, earlier in the year when I found out that I was speaking, well, it might have been end of last year actually, when I found out I was speaking at NDC London, because they actually asked me to speak there, which is quite an honour. I didn't even submit a call for papers, they just asked, which was awesome. I recorded me doing the Carlton dance as a celebration. So let's be honest, life's too short. I spent half my life being judged by people, so now I'm just like, what you see is what you get. So, woo, it worked. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that when we come to use it, it'll work, but at least we're free of some problems. So, let's see. So that's built. That's exciting. So we're definitely going to commit that. Where's my item gone? Item. There we go. It's because I minimised it. That's my fault. So let's clear the screen. As always, we are going to... we right folder? Yeah. So just check the status. Check to pick up those files. Yep. Oh, we don't want DS store. So again, we're going to make a change to the git ignore. So I always feel quite lucky because I work for the British like famous TV channel company. Also, did more than just a TV channel, but BBC. A lot of you if you're American, a lot of you will know it because you seem to love Doctor Who. I worked there for a year, but a lot of the time we used Vim to do things. So I'm one of the few people who is no Vim expert, but I'm not scared to just jump into it for a quick job like this. So if you're not used to Vim, where you always get the whole like, oh my god, how do I exit Vim, which is a running joke. Let's learn. I'll teach you how to do it. So we've got this file here. And first of all, we want to say to it, hey, I want to edit this file. So if you just click the letter I, that changes it to insert mode. So then you can start making changes. So we can do .ds store. I think that's what it's called. Move the window. It's ds_store. So ds store is something that macOS generates. Well, I say macOS, it was there back in OS 10. But yeah, we don't need it in this project. So we've added the line. Now we're done with it. How do we get out of insert mode? Press escape. Cool. Now we want to say, hey, let me enter a command. So that's when we do colon that you see at the bottom here. And then we want to write because we've made a change. So it's W. Then Q because we want to write and then quit because you can chain commands together. So we want to write, which basically means save the changes, and quit the file. And what we tend to do out of force of habit is also an exclamation mark. It just basically means like, yeah, I'm telling you to do it. Don't worry, just do what I tell you to do. So literally just colon, WQ, exclamation mark, done. So now if we do a git status, there we go. The git ignores change and you'll see that the DS store is not being uploaded anymore. None of the other files we need ignoring, so we'll just add everything. So we can do another one, which is AM. So a lot of the time, as you saw me do earlier, we often do git add dot, which means add everything. But if you're adding everything, what you can actually do is with this git commit, instead of just doing -m, which is like take a message. So that's your git commit, like literally git commit message, the one that shows up in the history. Doing -a as well is the equivalent of doing git add dot, so it just saves yourself a bit of typing. So added. Some people like to write really short git commit messages. I don't, because I'd rather be as explicit as possible about what's happened. So added Android binding project fixed compile issues. Cool. So let's push that. So that's going to take a minute because I'm streaming and my internet doesn't like me, and this is going to be quite a large file. So Copperbeard is just saying, oh, Vim, run away. Vim's not that scary, you know. Like, honestly, once you learn, like, I need to make a list of these things because every time I talk to Copperbeardy, I just seem to end up with a list of things I want to make Coding with Luce episode videos about. So, do you know what? Let's just, I'll do it in Notion actually. If you haven't seen Notion, Notion is a really great, like note-taking / productivity / everything tool. So you'll see it in action in a minute. Oh, my MacBook's having a bad day. What's going on? Is OBS still going? I hope so. I've upset it by trying to make it do too many things at once. Hopefully it's okay. So, let's just load Notion. There we go. So, this is me planning a talk that I've already written, but I've just started to use Notion. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, see, I've got my own Coding with Luce plan. I'm going to create a page. So, we just go to templates. So, all I want to do is a to-do. Use this template. So there's all sorts of templates on there. Notion is a whole other ballgame. It's just a useful note-taking thing. But I just want to make a couple of notes of some of the videos I want to do. So we're going to call it Coding with Luce episode ideas. Oh, my laptop is going. That is an accurate description of my computer right now, obviously. Okay, so new task. So it's going to be, what was one of the ones I was going to do? Okay. That's going to be intro to Vim basics. That's one. This is weird. Okay. All I want to do is just write a list. What's the other one I said I was going to take you through? I can't remember. Anyway, intro to Vim. Vim's not as scary as people think. Not when you just want to do really basic things like edit Git Commit. There's no point loading like a whole text editor or IDE like Visual Studio for Code or something, or even Notepad++. It's just overkill. Vim will do. Anyway, okay, so we've got that working. We've got it committed, I think. Yep, there we go. Woo! Okay, so next stop is some Git tasks. Not everything is about writing code. Sometimes we've just got to do the right thing. So I'll reload this to check that did everything. Yep, cool. So the project's there now. Woohoo! So let's add some issues. I'm sure there's better ways to track issues, but for now we're just going to add some issues. I'll clean it up later, you know, with labels and stuff. But first one is going to be... now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we won't do them, some of them tonight or whatever. We'll see how we go. I'll see what the time is when we finish doing these issues. But for now, we're just going to say what we want to do. So the first thing is look into changing method names to be more C#-like. So we'll just write a comment in here. Lark, not lark, like by default, Android bindings create methods with names in the Java style. We want to change these in the metadata.xml file to make them look like C#. So I think if you have a look at Jim's here, you'll see what I mean. So this is talking about binding the SDK. We've done it. And then he's dealing with some issues. And this is talking about the additions. Yeah, so you can change from Java style namespace to C# style. Absolutely. So if we go further down, he actually starts to do it, I think. It might be in part 2, actually. Okay, yeah, second part. Let's have a look. There we go, making the code more C#-like. So, I'm going to pop that in there. I will also pop this on the issue. This is, yeah, so C. Cool, something Markdown is supported, in which case C is posed by Jim Bennett. So what I'm doing here, if you've not seen Markdown before, is when you want to create links, you type in square brackets, you type what it is that you want to actually be written there, and then afterwards you put in round brackets the link to the site. So what will happen is a bit like a standard link, is that then it will be written as see this post by Jim Bennett, and then when you click it, it'll take you to this URL. So see this post by Jim Bennett for guidance. Cool. That'll do for now. As I said, I might go back and assign labels and tidy this up and stuff, but let's just do that. So if we sit in action, there we go. What else do we need to do? Let's have a look. So Jim did the whole process around binding a project, so it's worthwhile just scrolling through this and seeing if we get inspiration for anything that we want to do with it, because we've got the Android binding working, but it doesn't necessarily mean that once we're done making it C#-like, we jump straight to using it in a project. There might be stuff we've not thought of, so we're just going to have a look. Jim's very knowledgeable and very open with his knowledge, so his blog posts are usually very helpful. So this is just talking through how you do it. Yeah, so like you saw before, you've got the path,
the fact that a managed name, it'll always be managed name because that's just referring to classes, interfaces, and methods. And then you give it what you want to call it. So here, yeah, you're changing it from com.microsoft.com to services.speech.internal to more C#-like, which is the other way. Yeah, so Microsoft Azure come to services speech. So that's what we want to do. So that'll be very helpful. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so this is very, I think that's quite specific to that library. So that's okay. Okay, so this might be relevant. Let's have a look. If anyone's got any input or thoughts, by the way, if you've got any experience of this and there's tasks that you think I should add to the list for this project, let me know. Because as I said, the intention is this is the Android binding, so we're going to try and, you know, we've got to make the bindings more C#-like. Then we'll actually put together a Xamarin Forms project. We won't do much with it whatsoever. We'll just try referring to the library in Android and seeing if we can get it to work. Then we'll do our iOS. I've never done iOS bindings, but I know you can do it with, is it Cocoa Pods or something like that? It's Cocoa something, because obviously that's a Apple thing. But yeah, like we'll get around to iOS, but I think it's just better to target one at a time rather than getting ahead of ourselves. So, okay, so you create generic implementations. Okay. Oh, that's this code. Okay, so handling code with callbacks. I'm getting messages on Facebook. What's going on? Oh, it's all right. Not important. It can wait. So, yeah, so you're saying it's very specific for this library that he's using. But he said it's the kind of thing you may have to do. So, again, it's part of the C# stuff. So that's, you know, this whole blog post that I put in the issue is quite useful. So I think that'll be part of making it more C#-like. So I don't think that needs a separate task. If it becomes a bit of a story rather than, then we'll break it down into subtasks. Yeah, I do Agile at work. But it works, you know. It's a good project methodology. So I've worked at the company for well over a year now. I started on the 21st of May 2018. And the team, I've been in the team I'm in now for most of that time. And we've been doing Kanban for all that time until 2 weeks ago when we started Scrum with sprints. So it's been interesting to see both sides, but regardless of whether you're doing Kanban or Scrum, it's still important to have tasks that aren't too large. So, yeah, maybe Agile's on my mind, but I do think that if the issue becomes too, like the task that we've got as an issue becomes too big, we'll break it down because otherwise it's just overwhelming and you can't manage what's going on. But for now, we'll just leave it as one. The thing with Agile is that it lives up to its name. So at the moment, there's no need to break it down, but there's nothing to say that just because we've now written the issue, that if we leave it and then come back to it, we can't change it. So that's fine. Okay. Okay, so that's talking about change of visibility. That's okay. Okay, and then the last bit is actually binding it and making use of it. Cool. Okay, so we might see that as well, but we don't know yet, so that's okay. So that's very specific to what he's doing. Cool. Woo. Okay, so we've got this project. So in terms of the bindings, I think making it more C#-like, then we want to create a Xamarin Forms project. Android bindings already. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. How do I link to it though? Okay. So what? You have to submit pull requests anyway, so no one's going to be able to jump the gun here. It might seem silly. It's only a Xamarin Forms project, but you know, if people are finding this repo on GitHub and start to look at the code, you know, they'll see a Xamarin Forms project that's doing absolutely nothing, and it will just be a waste of mouse clicks. So personally, I really don't think we need to add the Xamarin Forms project to the repo yet. There's no need. It's not doing anything. So once issue number 1. I'll link to that in a minute. So once issue number 1 is resolved, create a simple Xamarin Forms project and reference project and build. 1. Ha! Oh, Stuart. So Stuart's just said, you have my full attention now that Only Connect is over. Yeah, I get it. I tweeted earlier about Only Connect. So Only Connect is a British quiz show on the BBC where it's surprisingly difficult, but it is my favourite quiz. I rarely get answers right, but I love it. So it's all about finding obscure connections between things. So like, I think there's, 4 rounds. In the first round, they get clues that are related, but they're really obscure, and then you get more points the sooner you can work out the link between it's normally words, but you know, so text descriptions of things. So it might be, I don't know, Vladimir Putin, I don't know, black speakers. Obviously, there's no link, but yeah, like it'll be words like that just seem completely unrelated, and you have to find the connections between them, and the sooner you find it, yeah. So they use, so Copperbeard just said 2 reads please. So in Only Connect they use Egyptian hieroglyphs to pick a puzzle, you know, whichever, so what they want to play. So yeah, in the first round you have to find the connections based on the words, and then one of them secretly will be a music round, so they'll hear music. One of them will secretly be pictures rather than words. Then in the second round, it's not only do they don't have to work out the connections to get the points, they have to work out what comes next. So rather than seeing up to 4 clues, they'll see 3, and they have to then between themselves and the team work out what the connection is to then go, oh, that's what the next one in the sequence would be. Then in the third round, it's a board of 4x4? Yeah, I think it's 16 jumbled up clues, and they have to. So there's 4 sets of links, but some of them the answers will appear to overlap, so it's just about finding them. And then the last round is my personal favourite because I'm actually quite good at it. Is for the few questions in the round you get a theme, but for each one they take away the vowels and jumble up the spaces and stuff. So you have to work out from the clue what it is that they're saying. And that's quite fun. But the new series started again this evening at 8 o'clock, and it's now 8:37. So it was on at 8, so I've missed it. But thanks to, you don't get it elsewhere, but out in the UK on BBC you get a catch-up service called iPlayer, and I can watch it on iPlayer after this. But I wasn't going to cancel stream just because my favourite quiz was back. I love my quiz, but I can watch it afterwards, and I love being here with you all. Yeah, Copperbeard, you're right. Victoria Coren Mitchell was the first female European Poker Tour champion. She's actually good at poker. People forget. But she's married to David Mitchell, who is the comedian from stuff like Peep Show. I know Americans sometimes know what Peep Show is, so if anyone American is watching, that's what it is. Okay, so once issue 1 is resolved, create simple Xamarin Forms project, blank Xamarin Forms template. And reference that project and check that it builds without errors. Cool. So, if we duplicate this tab, go back to here. Ooh. Okay, that did not work. I can just do that. Ooh, what are you missing, Danny? Copy link. So, once issue 1
So I'm just doing a link again because it's marked down. So I'm just referencing that original link. So once issue 1 is created and resolved, create a simple project and reference that project and check that it builds without errors. Cool. So I was going to show you where I'm stealing my idea from. So James obviously showed up before, which is kind of awesome. Handsome Forms, that's a good, perfect reference. So you see here, under issues, some of this might actually be, there we go. So some of these are actual issues that someone else has raised. But what James does is set tasks. He uses issues to set himself tasks. So, you know, all right, Kim, my good friend Kim Philpotts, who I curate Xamarin weekly with, which is awesome. He's added an issue here. But yeah, so what he's done is he sat on stream when he started this and made the tasks. So yeah, he's got like make app accessible was actually my suggestion, because I'm forever bugging David Ortonell, the senior program manager for like mobile tools and SDKs, because my argument is that simple things like the set automation properties on that you can set on your components so that screen readers can see them. It's one line you have to add it to the automation tree, and it's a property that could just very easily be on the component, the simple label that you get in the blank Xamarin Forms project. So when James was talking about what things to do for this project, I was like, yeah, make it accessible, because although there's, as Denny in the chat is an expert on, there is so much more to, you know, diversity, whether it's neurodiversity or any kind of impairments, than just visual. But by just having that automation property added, it will just make people think a bit more about accessibility in our applications. So I'm going to follow James's good example and make it accessible. Make it accessible. I can't do it without capitals. Maybe you can be a guest on the stream, Denny, and you can help me make it accessible if you feel comfortable. If not, when the time's right, feel free to pick up this issue. But yeah, if you want to come on the stream, be my guest. We can make it accessible together. I'm not quite sure how well my internet would handle having a guest and being on Skype, but we can test it out a different time. But yeah, if you're up for coming on, I'd love to have you. Making sure the app is accessible to everyone is very important. Make sure the pages accessible as possible. Examples include automation properties. So all that would happen, Denny, is that we would have a Skype call. I would share that Skype, I'd share the screen, share control of the computer with you, but also share that Skype with the stream so that people will be able to see you and hear you. And then we would just be able to work together out loud. So it's like pair programming or working with a friend. It's just that other people will be there. Like all I'm doing with this is just working on a project and talking out loud and getting free help out of an expert. I'm not going to lie, I was not expecting James to show up. Like, I know I work for him as his editor and stuff, and like we've been friends for a long time, but he is super busy. So I'm really touched that he found the time to come. But yeah, all I've done is think out loud and get some help, so it's not scary. There we go, simplify the layout. Text to speech on all components. Color by function. And then etc. Because there'll be ones I haven't thought of. But you know, this is just writing it for the first time. There's nothing that says that we can't add to this later. Okay, so
Any other inspirations? Don't need Blazor web app. See, these are all very specific. Oh, splash screen. Who doesn't love a splash screen? But yeah, we'll keep it simple for now. So we've got the project. We've made it accessible. The next issue can be, what do we want to do? Okay, set up Twilio configurations. Oh, yes. Oh, well, we can do that. We can do that before we even get off stream, Stuart. You're quite right. We can do that after this, actually. I'll add this issue, and then we can do the automated build, and then I'll probably end the stream. I've been at work all day. This has been awesome fun, but I'm not going to lie, it is mentally draining trying to not only do something new, but also, like, it is super fun, but it is also tiring, and so I probably need to kind of take a break, otherwise I'll be melted by the end of the week. So we'll do this issue, and then we'll do the automated build together. I won't use DevOps, DevOps would be better, actually, the Mobile Center, because we've got the bindings, but anyway. Okay, so there will be some Twilio-related configurations we need to investigate how to set up. So this is Twilio count SID, Twilio auth token. So that's what they're called in Twilio. So you get your account SID, which is obviously your unique identifier to you, and then your auth token to say, hey, I can do this stuff. So we need to add those. We need to investigate where best to set these and how to keep them a secret. They are unique to an individual. Okay, so options include constants, file that you set with set value here, and then apply more updates in Git. So this is something that I learned from Jim Bennett. Again, it's on his blog. So what you can do with your secrets is you can set, say he was doing it for stuff like Azure, where you need to set, the endpoint URL and then your, what do they call it? API key, that's it. So what you can do is you can create like an app constants file, and in it you can say like, Azure voice, Azure speech endpoint equals, and then rather than putting your values in, you can just put in stuff to say, and you can put a hashtag in as well before it, like a property that makes it scream if they haven't changed it. So, so it doesn't build, it just says, hey, you need to change this. But yes, you set the values in the file, and then, but you don't actually put the values in, you just put something a bit like that. And then you add that to Git, so it gets pushed into version control, but then you apply a ignore updates command to it, so that then when you add your values into it, the file will always exist in your solution, but you will never push, when you do like a Git status, it won't pick up that you've actually changed that file by putting your own secrets in. So that's one way to do it. Or we can have a look at Azure, is it Key Vault, I think? Something like that. So there's secrets in Azure anyway. That might be overkill, but I just think it's worth investigating because we are going to have to need them at some point. Okay, so we'll start with the issues for now. The project is here for everyone to see. So, there's, the project is open source. You are more than welcome if you've got ideas to add issues to the project. This is a community effort. It might be under my own name, but it's a community effort. So, yeah, we'll stop adding issues for now, just so that we can finish with the build. But we'll just close these tabs. I'll go back to the ones I said I was going to look at afterwards. So, let's go to DevOps. DevOps. Is this the right thing? We'll soon find out. No, it is not. I could not.
MS DevOps, is it? Nope. I should know the link to this. Oh, here we go. Oh, that's not gonna be the right thing, is it? Oh my god. Do you know what? You can tell I'm tired now because I'm just being stupid. Azure DevOps. Just Google it and go to the right link. Let's have a look. Sign in. I don't want the portal, I want DevOps. See? No, not right now. It's not even the right account. That is my work one, which I am absolutely not doing. Just want to go to the right. DevOps Explained, DevOps Labs, Status, oh god. Azure pipelines, that's what we want. We want to set up a pipeline. Who am I signing as? No, sign out. I need to be me. If I'm me, my personal me, rather than work me, because I'm an MVP, I have a Microsoft MSDN enterprise subscription as part of it. So let's try again. Sign in. Oh, there we go. That's better. I want personal me. Okay, so it's personal. So that one, I have a work, because it's a work account. When I became an MVP, there's a Teams community. And when you get added to that community, if you don't have a @Hotmail or @Outlook domain in your email address, Teams automatically sets you up a Microsoft work account with the same email address, which is why it makes me choose. You can change your email address to get around that, but I'm like, nope, I like my email address, thanks. So just load the portal and we're going to set up CI. It's going to be CI, not CD, because we've got nothing to deploy at the minute. I have so many projects. So let's create a new project. Twilio Voice Binding Android. Yeah, it will be Android because we want a specific build for it. Cool. No, not pipelines. So, yeah, it's got a new pipeline. Yeah, we're going to do it without YAML because I only know how to do it with templates. So it already exists on GitHub. Okay, so authorize using OAuth. Should do the trick. So it is the Twilio Voice Xamarin bindings. There we go. So I got a Twilio video Xamarin Android. That was there's nothing in it. It was just something I started the other week and then realised I didn't know what I was doing. A bit like today, which I couldn't have got through if it wasn't for James's input. So yay for James. So yeah, so it's master. So select template. So in this case, it's going to be Xamarin Android, I guess. Yeah, we can leave it as Windows. Doesn't need to be Mac or anything because it's not an iOS project. Want to do the whole solution or should we just do the bindings project? What do we think? You can always change it later, so because you can edit the build definition after, like that's what you call it, a build pipeline definition. So we can always edit it afterwards. So use a NuGet, build the project, anything called droid dot triggers, enable.
Okay, yep, whole solution it is. So we've ticked it to start when it goes, so we don't need to change anything else. We don't need to sign it because it's just local. We'll worry about deployment later. We're just going to keep it really simple for now. We just want something to build. So we can save that and queue it up. So that should go off. And create a build. Fingers crossed. Not now. You can teach me another time. Cool, our agent is ready. That's a good start. So if you've never seen Azure DevOps before, this is kind of... So normally with Xamarin apps, you use something called App Center, which is... It started out life as a Xamarin service, feature, whatever you want to call it. It was a Xamarin thing when Xamarin was still a startup before acquisition. And they turned it into App Center. So that's quite good for very mobile specific things. So we could have used that for this, but we'll just use DevOps because it's always good to mix it up. Eventually, if we want to kind of deploy the Xamarin Android bindings to NuGet rather than having to just have the project locally, we might want to use something like this for deployment. So just start as you mean to go on. So it zipped through the first few bits. Now it's doing the NuGet restore, which always takes the longest. So it just goes through these steps, and what's cool is as it goes through these steps, you can just click on them. And it gives you the console output of what's happening. Let's zoom in a bit. There we go. So you can see here that for initialize a job, it just gives you some information about what's going on. So if you want to understand what it's doing, then you can use this. And each one's the same, and you can even jump through the tasks. It's also good because it might be that this template is good enough for you, but it might be that you've actually got some customizations you want to make to your build pipeline. So you can just use this as a basis to create your own. And of course you can do YAML templates. Obviously they've moved to doing YAML by default now, but I haven't actually taken the time to understand it better yet. I've always known it as this template that you can pick. So I've just stuck with that for now. But at some point we'll move to YAML. I know Robin Manuel Thiel, who works for Microsoft in Germany. He has done a whole talk on YAML for Xamarin projects, which is really useful. I think he's given it multiple times, so I'm sure there's a recording somewhere. So at some point I'll watch it to understand better. I've seen it live, but his talk was on after I'd just given mine. And if you've ever done public speaking, you are in an adrenaline rush after you've given a talk. So not everything sinks in. But yeah, so for now we're just sticking to this template, but you can do it. Oh, okay. The target package for Android does not exist in the project. Okay, so this is something I'll take time to look at. It might be because we're not doing the right kind of project. It might not be considered a Xamarin Android project. So, right, what I'll do is it's 4 minutes to 9. So I'll end the stream there for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll try and carry on with this next week if everyone's still interested in it. If it's so what I'll try and do between now and next week is actually address stuff like why this isn't building. I'll maybe look at some of the issues and what we can do with it. And obviously, as I said, I will I'll tweet out the link to the GitHub repo as well, so that you can all, if you are interested in getting involved, you can go on and add issues. If you chose you wanted to carry on, then by all means carry on. You know, just submit a pull request. We can always look at it together at the start of next week's stream. So yeah, have a fantastic rest of the week, everybody, and I will see you next week. Let's just turn this off. 3, 2, 1, bye.